Hello, film fans. Welcome to the Film vs. Film podcast. My name is Martin Harries, your host. I'm a filmmaker on occasion, but mainly can't stop yapping about movies. On this podcast, every episode I pick a topic from a film that's coming out at the cinema or on streaming. I pick a favourite film from that topic and battle it out against a guest to decide which film will become the greatest film of all time. If you enjoy this podcast, please leave us a 5-star review and subscribe. Please enjoy part 1. Hello, podsters or podroonies, if you prefer. We are back again for another episode of the Film vs. Film podcast. The last one of the regular pod of the year. I know it's sad, very sad, but it's December, people. And of course, as it is December, Wake Up Dead Man, the new Knives Out mystery, is out. I think it will be out on Netflix by the time this comes out. So we'll see. I can't remember. I think it's like the 12th or something, but it certainly will be in cinemas for a short run. Unfortunately, Netflix movies do that. But hey ho, there we are. And of course, as Wake Up Dead Man is a Whodunnit movie. Yep, that's right. We are doing Whodunnit films. And of course, I can't talk alone. I have a debutant guest with me today, Heather J Stewart. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for the little J in the middle. Yes, because that's where I am everywhere on all social media. Yeah.
So you're kind of an Instagrammer, film reviewer.
Yeah, I've been on various podcasts over the last year or so, I'd say, and then from January officially joining the Revisionist Almanac team with Andrew Corns, and so it'll be more of me on that channel, but still in various other podcasts, of course, as well. Mainly, with Andrew, I'll be covering like the European sort of film scene and awards, and more the current award systems. His podcast is more about revising past mistakes of the Academy. He often has his little mini episodes where he talks into a void, talking about top James Cameron films. I think he's got coming up soon, but that'll be more kind of like the two of us, so he's not talking into a void too much. So yeah.
Hopefully he'll have Aliens at number 1. Hopefully that happens.
I hope. Yeah.
Yeah, Andrew's been on like 3 times now. Yeah, he's a great podcaster, like literally doing so well with it.
Also has just seen so many films.
I don't know
how he does it.
Yeah, same. I don't know how the man does it. Does he sleep? Do you know that?
Oh, I tease him about that he watches them on like double speed. The films to get more in. So he's like, turns up this week and goes, I wouldn't even know how to do that, even if I wanted to. I'm like, it was really easy. Here's a screenshot. And then somebody says, don't encourage him.
Oh, we do love Andrew. So as we're relating the episode to Wake Up Dead Man, what do we make of this one? The third Knives Out movie. Daniel Craig returns once again as Benoit Blanc. Are you a fan of these films?
I love these films. I do.
Yeah.
I really love them. Yeah. I caught the first one fairly late, so it was already, been out for a while. Loved that. And then I think Glass Onion was out already, so I was able to kind of follow it straight up with that one. I don't know. I go through phases of which one I prefer. So initially off the bat, I was like, I prefer the first one. I think that's maybe just because I found the second one so predictable, but maybe that's the entire point. And as we'll discuss in one of the films we have coming up, it's often that on a rewatch that you notice all the hidden clues that you actually did miss. So even if you've guessed who it was or what, why, it's actually right out there in full sight for you to see. So I thought that was actually really, really clever. So yeah, I couldn't say which one. I've heard the third one. I haven't seen it, obviously, but I've heard that's like, some people are like, this is the best one of the lot. Some people are like, it's the worst one of the lot. So maybe it's just very different in tone.
I feel like that's a good
others.
sign. Yeah.
I think he has to do that, though. I think you have to do that. If you're continuing a franchise, you have to keep bringing new things to the table. Otherwise, people are just going to get pretty bored pretty quickly, I think. So, yeah, and the ensemble cast is incredible. Remember when they were releasing the names for it, and it was a thing on like Twitter. It was like, well, who's not going to be in it? It was just like every hour they were releasing these new names, and you're like, well, it's just everybody. Yeah. Kind of like the film that we have coming up.
Yes.
First of all.
Yeah, I mean, Wake Up Dead Man's got Josh O'Connor in it, Glenn Close, Josh Brolin, Mila Kunis, Jeremy Renner. I'm fascinated
Andrew
with the fact that Jeremy Renner is in it because he's mentioned in Glass Onion as having his own hot sauce. So I don't know how that's going to work. Whether because he's a completely different character.
He's very meta.
So that's
because he's a real character, isn't it? He's not just going to be like his likeness from the bottle of hot sauce, and then
there's got to be a meta in joke in there.
It's got to be something, But it was his first role. I think it was the same thing. It was his first role since his accident with the snowplow.
Yeah, where he literally died for like a few minutes. I was like, oh my God.
It was horrific. I didn't want to read too much about that.
No.
I was like, no.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoy the Knives Out films. I kind of don't like the fact that they call them Knives Out mysteries because the first one is just called Knives Out. Again, it's just a kind of a little marketing plea to just not confuse people. But I kind of wish they would just switch it now to just call them Benoit Blanc mysteries. You know?
Just the title.
Yeah, I really enjoyed both of them. Yeah, I kind of agree with with your opinion of the first film. It is kind of semi-predictable, the fact that, spoilers for the first one, that it is going to be that the murderer is Chris Evans. But again, it's kind of the point, I guess. And similar thing with Glass Onion as well.
Yeah.
It's all kind of the how and the why with Whodunnit movies, and very much the case with our choices as well that we're going to discuss. So yeah, very excited about Wake Up Dead Man and seeing Daniel Craig with long hair as well. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah. That's an interesting look. Yeah. Oh well. I wonder if Hugh Grant will be back. I hope so.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, he was great for his 1 minute of screen time, if that.
Yeah. So I'm going to go first this time, people, and I went with Gosford Park, and I said that wrong once again. I keep saying the title of this film wrong. Gosford Park, not Gosford Park. From 2001, directed by the great Robert Altman. And yes, it's got everyone that's featured. Well, it's got everyone in it who's British, basically.
Why weren't we in it?
Huh?
Why weren't we in it?
I know.
Everybody British was in it. We're not in it.
I've done acting before. I should be in Gosford Park.
I'm offended.
Gosford Park.
I was the prompt at the school play. Grief.
So why did I go with this one? I think it's kind of a classic case of me doing my research, having no idea what I'm going to pick for this episode, and just looking at lots of different articles where they're looking at the best top 10 Whodunnit films, and Gosford Park's always there, and it's always very high up. So that's basically why I went for this one, and it just felt very intriguing, and a lot of people are always saying really great things about it, and it just felt very different. And I guess also when I was kind of looking at it as well, I had recently seen the latest Downton Abbey film, so maybe that kind of influenced my choice. I mean, I've never watched a Downton episode in my life, so when I was watching that, I was like, I have no idea what's going on. But it was quite charming. But yeah, that's why I went for Gosford Park, really. And I do not regret my decision, because I really, really loved this film. I kind of wish I had time to watch it again, because there's so much to unpack here. So many different storylines going on, so many different kind of atmospheres and vibes from all these characters, which in a way I'll certainly get to it, but in a way it's kind of difficult to keep up with every single storyline, certainly on a first watch. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. As long as you get to the heart of what's going on, you understand that, then you can get a lot out of this film. Initial reactions for you, Heather? What did you make of Gosford Park?
Yeah, also a first watch. I will also say that I almost chose this one as well, because it had been on my watch list for so long. And just from what I knew about the film, I was like, this sounds very me coded. It's people talking in rooms, which is my favorite sub genre. Incredible cast. It's you're going, even the ones that you know about, the top billed ones, and then you're watching it and you're like, wait, hang on. That's Thingy from Four Weddings and a Funeral, like randomly popping up for like one scene. And it's a murder mystery, period drama, country house, lots of things going on, lots of intrigue, lots of like, who with whom and how often and how many times and all this thing. And also the cast. So yes, it just struck me as being very me. I just had no idea why I'd never seen. I think it's because the name. I thought this sounds really, really period drama. Like this sounds more Remains of the Day. Nothing against Remains of the Day, also a great film, but it sounds much more period drama, and it is more about the class actually ultimately than the crime, but still it's like, oh, okay, Gosford Park sounds like a National Trust place. So maybe that's just why I'd never got to it, but it was like, you need to watch this, you will enjoy this. I'm like, okay, I hadn't watched this for ages, and then we were like talking, okay, Whodunnit, like I'm like, oh, Gosford Park, so I had it on my short list, but ultimately went for something else. So I loved it. Yeah, it was very me coded. It was less about the crime than the class divide, which is fine as well, because by then you're kind of invested. So at the time the crime comes up, it's like well into the film, and you almost forgot that something was supposed to happen, right? It's like, wait a minute, hang on. This is a murder mystery.
Detective was in this for a bit.
Yes. Wonderful casting as well. A joy
from Stephen Fry.
No, this was so good. Yeah, so this was absolute joy. I loved it. There's a couple of criticisms which we'll come to that I have, but this was so entertaining. And as you say, watching it a second time. So I also did not watch it a second time, but I did go back and rewatch certain scenes where I'm like, okay, hang on, I think that's worth a rewatch. Could we tell anything there? Could we not? Like we're talking with Glass Onion, going back and seeing, well, actually it's in full view. So that was that I did do, but I didn't watch the whole film back to front again. Right, front to back. Back to front would be
it's not Memento.
no. Although again, interesting. That could be also interesting to watch it the other way around. But but great first watch.
Yeah, it's definitely not what I was expecting at all. I thought, like, certainly tonally, like, I thought it'd be a lot more serious than it actually is. Like, there's a lot of humor in this. It's very funny, a lot of the time.
Very British humor, though.
Like, Gosford Park is basically horrible people being horrible to each other for 2 hours, and that's great fun to watch.
Yeah, and it's wonderful. We'll get to this as well, but just some of the throwaway lines and comments are just so delicious. It's so
Yeah, I have many lines on the lines bit. But So, what happens in Gosford Park? Well, going to IMDb, as I always do. So this film, obviously directed by Robert Altman, and of course written by Julian Fellowes, who wrote Downton Abbey. This film is written by Altman and Bob Balaban, who is in the film as well, helped write this. So, set in the 1930s, a group of pretentious, rich and famous get together for a weekend of relaxation at a hunting resort. But when a murder occurs, each one of these interesting characters becomes a suspect. So definitely reads as a very kind of typical whodunit movie, very Agatha Christie type plot, I guess. But when you actually watch this, it's not really that at all. You got to wait a while for the murder to happen. So directing then, like, the first thing I noticed about the direction after like sort of the 30-minute mark is how good the efficiency and how precise the direction is from Robert Altman in directing so many characters. In most of the scenes, it feels like you have like about 5+ characters in one given shot, and unlike Fincher, the other film we're going to talk about with Zodiac, like the camera's always on the move, so the film almost feels like a dance at times. Like, the blocking and directing of the camera works so well, like you never feel lost in who the focus of the scene is on, with so many characters in shot. Like, the pace of the film isn't exactly slow either, especially with the dialogue. It's got a real pace to it. Like, the direction captures certain little looks between characters so clearly after such a long shot too. But when like a two-hander scene comes up, it's more traditionally shot with close-up shot cutting, and it sometimes feels like a little bit out of place, but not in like a bad way or anything. It's probably just the constraints that Altman had to shoot those scenes. But throughout, like the whole film, it feels so efficiently done. It's almost shot like an action film. Almost, he has to have that level of precision to make it clear as possible while keeping like a great style to it. So incredibly well done for me. Behind the camera from Robert Altman for sure.
No, completely agree. And I also like what you said about the camera permanently moving. I mean, it is literally permanently moving. That is kind of, in the little sort of, factoids you can read about it, that even if it's just a slight move, it was moving at all points. And that also it was a decision to give the actors, all of them, like little microphones, as opposed to having like the big boom microphone.
Right, yeah.
So that, and apparently as well, that they never knew exactly when they were going to be on camera. So they were picking up all conversations kind of at all times, filming pretty much everybody at all times. And that's what he kind of slice and dice. So they had to kind of like stay in, character
the whole time,
all the time for the scene. If they were in the scene, and there's a scene where there's literally all the people, sometimes they just didn't know, well, when is it going to be on me? So they had to kind of just keep acting along with it. I think it's a genius decision. And like what you said, this is, I mean, I think we will come to that later, but I think the biggest strength of the film is, is the acting. But to your point with the directing, you need the director to manage these actors and to know where they have to be when. But because you do have these absolute, legends of screen and stage, how many notes can you really give them as well? So, I think Altman has just had to, I mean, he's used to working with these big ensemble casts, right? This is what his films are known for, right? So this is just taking it from, LA and or wherever and transplanting it to the English countryside. So, he's very experienced in that. So, and these massive casts and who needs to be where, when, but he also has to trust these legends, as I said. So, yes, I think it's a great combination of directing, very precise directing, but also kind of, I think, also knowing when to just trust the actors as well.
Yeah.
So they're in camera and knowing when he's got a good shot. And it's not just the parlor scenes as well. It's like the whole beginning, with the drive up and the long drive up, and you kind of just get a view for the place and just everything, like where he's doing the camera or who he's focusing on, when he chooses to, cut from in the scene with the, when Ivor Novello is playing piano, when he chooses to cut from the parlor and Maggie Smith enjoying it or not to the servants who actually are genuinely enjoying it.
Oh, so, please don't encourage him.
Please don't encourage him. Don't clap. She's wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
But yeah, I agree, definitely. I think because you would think though there's not a lot of like cutting with each shot. Really, they're very long takes. So you would think there's a lot of planning that goes into this, and like with the actors as well. It must take a lot of confidence and. From Robert Altman to tell a lot of these British legends that, like, you please carry on as if you are on screen, but you might not be.
Exactly. I wonder how many of these thought that they had a bigger role than they actually ended up having. And you hear about, what was it, the famous with them. What's his face, with Timothée Chalamet, from Interstellar, that first time he saw it, he cried because he thought his role was so much bigger. But I mean, I'm sure they knew, but I mean, it's incredible. It's like you've got these legends literally just one scene, like Derek Jacobi, what? Just randomly there.
So it does feel like it is incredibly well rehearsed and planned with where Altman wants to put the camera, and I don't think he's finding too much in the edit with this, to be honest. Like it just feels too precise for that. Of course, there's probably an element of that, but it's so well done with the efficiency of it. I was so impressed, to be honest. The fact that you're moving from character to character and really getting like a key moment of dialogue perfectly framed in an important scene. And yeah, it's brilliantly done.
But also in the not that I rewatched it, but the few things that I was like kind of picking on at the time, you do wonder, well, why is he focusing on that couple or that part of it when actually something more interesting is going on over there? But then, of course, it all starts building up, which is the whole point of this film, is that there's these little clues, little gestures, which you think, well, you maybe do notice, but then often you know, as it is, you forget that particular reason, whatever, whether it's a glance of Helen Mirren on a photo or whatever. I know I noticed that at the time. I was like, well, she seems a bit interested in that photo. But then you kind of forget, and then it all builds up. So it's these little clues, which, you know, is a mixture of, I think, direction, screenplay, and of course acting. Like it's the whole
package coming together. I think like with Altman, I think there's definitely like a plan to each scene of where he wants to end up with the camera within a scene of like, okay, yes, like each shot seems very well planned and very precise for me, but there's always a moment where, okay, we'll find this in the edit a little bit, but at the end of this scene we're going to focus on this particular moment. Again, I guess I get that through the fact that it does feel so precise and well judged through trying to work out a scene with so many characters, but there's always an end goal to each scene to move on the story. So yeah, really well done. But I also quite liked how Robert Altman subtly changes up his direction style with the scenes during the night where Kelly MacDonald's character Mary has forgotten to wash Maggie Smith's shirt for the next morning. And the film almost changes into like a prison movie where she's kind of trying to escape. As she's told multiple times, she can't be seen upstairs. And when she goes down to the kitchen, Altman can focus a little bit more on creating shots for one character moving around, not a million. Then he kind of surprises you brilliantly with how he's directed the whole film, where you see one of these maids having sex right on the edge of the frame. Then the style comes back again when sort of the maid comes to the forefront to confront Kelly MacDonald, and you see kind of the maid lighting up a cigarette right in the foreground, lighting it up in the darkness, which gives it a bit more kind of, darkness to the scene and the film. Yeah, I really kind of liked that moment because it's a real kind of, not necessarily shock moment, but a very like a great surprise, a great reveal of that, but kind of keeping his own style.
It's one of the rich people. Yeah, there's that as well. Yeah, that's no, I agree. And also that was the same, wasn't it the same maid that we'd seen smoking in the dark but outside earlier on as well, right? Yeah. I mean, I generally loved the whole house thing because while you're not really, you're only in individual kind of like rooms apart from when you are moving, perhaps with Kelly MacDonald, but it just feels so massive. You still get a sense for how massive this is, even though it's very much part of the piece. Even though, you know, we're in that room and then we're in that room, technically it's only a few rooms. And I think it is because there is a lot of, as you said, you know, wandering from one place to the next. She's trying to find, she's in first of all, she's in the, you know, the male quarters, then she has to go and wash the shirt, then anything within those corridors just makes you, I think because of the way it's shot, very much down the whole length of the corridor, you get a feel for how big this place actually is and how easy it is to get lost. Clearly, I mean, I was at the beginning when she was like, "Oh, you're sharing with so and so, you're sharing with so and so." I go, "Oh my god, how are they supposed to know where they're going?"
Yeah, the film definitely really puts you in Kelly MacDonald's shoes. With how big it is.
She's our surrogate for sure. Yeah,
definitely the main character. I would say
the actual detective.
Yeah, definitely. Have you got a favourite scene or favourite shot?
I mean, I'm just going to say the bridge scene just because I think it's hilariously funny.
Yeah,
you know, they're playing, and you've got they're playing bridge, and then you've got isn't that where he's also like, no, the cat, is that where he's playing the piano as well? But anyway, it's just full of like wonderful comments from Maggie Smith as well. Or I think anything where there's an amount of dialogue. Actually, the dinner scene is also great. That's just one bit where she is actually the two disparate dinner scenes actually is an interesting point. So upstairs, they're having their conversation, and then I just love the bit where she's asking this guy about the film that he's making, and she's pretending to be interested because, you know, polite society. And then, how dreadful, do tell me who did it. And she goes, I couldn't possibly say, you know, I'll give it all away. And she goes, it's not like we're going to see it.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Hilarious.
Or, yes, and then the bridge where she says, please don't encourage him. But then the other dinner scene, which is actually so critical to the ultimate, you know, who did it and why. Well, yes, it is. Yeah, both of them. Who did it and why is the downstairs dinner scene where the Ryan Phillippe character is asking them, you know, what their parents did and which of them came from.
In factories.
You know, in households or in factories. Clive Owen then reveals that he grew up in an orphanage. Not he was an orphan, grew up in an orphanage.
Yeah.
I noticed that at the time. And then there's that look, of course, between him and Helen Mirren as she's like passing the Brussels sprouts or whatever she's passing. And of course, you kind of don't think too much about it, but it makes sense later on. And then that was one of the things that I did go to revisit that particular scene, just to have a look at how he said it, how she reacted. And there was an element of surprise, but because, you know, she's a perfect servant, she couldn't really reveal too much. So I think those ones are the ones, but the ones where there's an important part of the dialogue or just very, you know, amusing dialogue happening, I think those are the ones that I definitely remember. Yeah. What about you?
I think for me, it's like how the murder scene is kind of constructed. Like, I really liked how kind of the pace really slows down before Michael Gambon gets murdered. Like, you have Ivor Novello like playing the piano in the drawing room. I think it's the drawing room anyway. Yeah. Which sort of sort of the big room.
Big room in an English house.
Which sort of ties the whole scene together nicely. Really beautifully paced with that. You have like all these moments of characters leaving the room for different reasons, like all done very particularly for each character, which involves like Clive Owen, Richard E. Grant, Tom Hollander, and James Wilby. They all leave the room for different reasons. And it just gives you this tiny sense that something could be stirring without it being obvious. Then I love the kind of almost Giallo style scene, almost of like following a character's feet through rooms, and he puts like the muddy boots on, then he grabs a knife. All done very tight, close up until the actual murder of him, stabbing Michael Gambon. And all the while it's hiding his identity. Then again, these characters are coming back into the main room. Feels very specific this time, and you obviously take note of it a bit more after the murder that one of them could have done it. So I just really like how that was all kind of structured, and I love the almost giallo horror style of a man dressed in black holding a knife. So, directing score for you, Heather, for Gosford Park. What are you going for? You can use a decimal place if you wish, out of 10.
Yeah. I'm going for a 9.1.
Ooh, high.
Yes. I'm just generally just going to be quite high this episode, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like it as well. Again, I just was so impressed with how Robert Altman has crafted this film with so many characters, and it all kind of feels very meaningful for each character. And I know there's a lot of characters in this, but I never felt that any of them had been shortchanged, or the fact that, this character needs more screen time. Maybe because there's just so many, it's kind of hard to keep track of everyone. I don't know, but I never really got that feeling.
Yeah, there were a few. And I thought I was thinking we're probably going to cover that maybe when we talk about the screenplay, because I don't think this is necessarily Altman's thing. I mean, I'm sure he was very involved, but there's a few characters where I was literally just like, I mean, like, first of all, jump scare, Lawrence Fox. And secondly, like, and there were some of them where you were like, well, did we need that side story? Like, what did it actually add apart from just a little bit of extra scandal? Or I mean, as I say, Lawrence Fox, the character, like, what, like, literally, what was the point? Him and his mate, like, what, why? Like, and even, we'll definitely come to this when we talk about acting as well. I'm going back on myself. So I was a bit saying, I don't really see the point of the Ryan Phillippe character. Like, what was, like, literally, what was the point? Because we already had the other American as the surrogate. That's why everything's being explained. So, but on the other hand, it wasn't, if you're saying the main story, it's actually the class divide and showing how class works in those societies. The fact that he was then rejected by the one that he had been with, because they were saying, no, you can't, and he goes, well, I was literally with you guys, like, having dinner with you yesterday. Yeah, but you can't. It's either one or the other. There's no gray area. So I guess that was useful for that part of what they wanted to show in terms of explaining how British class structures worked in the 1930s, perhaps. So
I think his character was sort of a device to kind of expose how kind of silly the class divides are in sort of houses like this, and that when they discover he is an American and should be upstairs kind of thing, that the servants are like, well, we know that you're in your place now, you don't belong down here. So there's no like doubt about that anymore for the staff, I guess, the servants. But yeah, with my directing score, I think, again, I'll go pretty high. Yeah, again, just so impressed with how efficiently done Robert Altman uses the camera. It just feels so precise and well done, so clever for me. So I'll go with like a 9.4 for me, because I mean, it's very similar to how sort of action films are done as well, with when you've got like so many elements in action. It's the same thing here. And yeah, so good for me. 9.4.
It's choreography, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So screenplay then. The first thing you notice about this film is that there feels like there are like hundreds of characters and storylines to follow here. And for sure, sometimes it can be quite difficult to follow everyone's personal stories. But I don't think you necessarily have to like follow all of them to get maximum enjoyment out of this. Like, there's enough humor and interesting characters here to like carry you through the film for me. Plus, most of the characters are quite unlikable as well. And it's not just the upstairs posh characters either. There are plenty of unlikable servants and valets too, which just adds to the kind of tone and humor for the film for me. Like, when the darker, more emotional scenes happen, they feel a bit more hard-hitting when they come. But yeah, I think it's just, there's enough like atmospherics and tonal world building, if you will, that kind of gets you through the film to a great level of enjoyment, that you're not massively like frustrated that you don't find out the rest of someone else's story, because it's all kind of part of this kind of dark humorous tone that this film is going for, or at least I felt that a bit. Were you kind of frustrated that you couldn't find out like the whole story to some of these different stories that are happening here, or is it just like more of a tonal, it adds to the tone of it for you?
Well, this is what I was kind of saying earlier. It's like, well, it adds to it, like you say. And then, but when you take away from, you're like, well, what was actually literally the point of introducing that part of the storyline? So you could either say, well, it just adds to the general picture of everybody being assholes here, or it really, what was the point? It's almost, and I'm trying to kind of decide what they were going for, whether it's like, well, it's, it is just an extra little bit of intrigue that's going on, or
just lots of red herrings.
and everybody's just awful, and building a general picture of how awful everybody is. Yeah, or the red herrings, because, giving, like you said, I mean, there's so many people with a motive for wanting to kill this guy, and not, well, the obvious ones are the upstairs ones, and that's what Stephen Fry says. He says, "Oh, I'm not interested in the servants." I mean, which, is actually, quite ambiguous, because he thinks he's better than them, although he's also working class. He also thinks it couldn't be one of them, so he rules them out very quickly. Wrong, but so. Where was I going? I was going somewhere with this. Yes. What's his name? Is it Freddie? He's the one who also was having an... I don't know. I missed this.
Everyone's shagging everyone in this.
Yes, like. But he also... But he got Isabel, the daughter, pregnant, is what I kind of... been. I was like, oh, I missed that entirely. I kind of figured out there was something going on, but I kind of missed that she was pregnant and had to have an abortion. So I missed that bit. Anyway. So there's that. And then you've got your Tom Hollander character, who also needs money and has all these ideas for business plans, but he's actually really just wants to eat jam in the kitchen, which is lovely. And then you've got obviously Maggie Smith, who, she has the alibi because she's like still in the parlor making snide comments, but she's also going to be cut off from money. And then you've got other things that you don't even know about, obviously, with Clive Owen, who has a motive, and then also George had randomly disappeared, as you said as well. Like, why? But I think it's just even just to kind of the red herrings and the general thing. But on the other hand, it is a little bit frustrating, I have to say, because it's like, well, what's the point of introducing that if you're not going to do anything? So part of me is like, well, did they have a longer screenplay? Did they explain more? I mean, because as I say, the whole Lawrence Fox thing was more, well, he was also interested in Isabel, so
because he's barely in it as well.
He's barely in it. He comes late. They're one of the first to leave as well, and so
I feel like definitely that character and his friends, those characters you can probably cut out of the film, and I don't think it changes much. But what I kind of like about all these different storylines is the fact that you find out pretty much most of the characters have some sort of motive to kill Michael Gambon's character, William. And then it becomes a case of the fact that, okay, everyone sort of hates this character for one reason or another. And that's kind of the basic thing that you need to know. And then it doesn't necessarily matter how the reasons why. You don't necessarily need to go further into their personal stories for the reasons why. And then that's where kind of more of the humor comes through with these characters hating this guy. So that's where I was kind of realizing, okay, this is a story this is all about kind of the humor of the situation, and the absurdity of what's going on here is coming through more than the reasons why people are wanting to kill this guy.
Yes, and it's like Maggie Smith, who just seems to have the best lines here. She also says, "Oh, where's Elsie gone?" And she says, "Oh, she's left already." She's like, off to London. She goes, or something. And what a shame. It would be nice to have somebody still here who actually cares that he's dead, or something. Words to that effect. I mean, it's not verbatim, but roughly what she says. And I mean that is literally it. Well, the other sister who lost the card game to win, Michael Gambon. Wow, what? I mean, wow. What a prize.
Again, that just adds to the ridiculousness of these characters.
Because you have two
queens.
Queens.
Help but laugh.
Yeah, you have Kristen Scott Thomas, and you have, what's her name? Lily Potter, goodness, I want to say, but she's her sister. Geraldine, what's her name? I can't remember, sorry. The Queens. Beautiful women, and then you have Michael Campbell, and they're both really wanted to win him, and then they played cards to. I mean, it's just ridiculous. She's also very upset, and what was it her husband says? "Oh, stop sniveling, dear. Anybody would think you were Italian or something."
That was brilliant.
So good.
Because there's so many obviously we'll get to lines later, but because there's so many amazing one-liners. I just felt like it didn't matter that we didn't have there's so many loose ends at the end. I don't think it matters for me. But
I don't know if the loose ends are basically everybody's just going to continue. I mean, I'm not quite sure. I mean, maybe there's a loose end with regards to the murder. Who are they going to actually charge? But I also got the impression the inspector didn't really care anyway. I mean, he's literally asking the person to clear up evidence. There's a spilt cup over here. Well, they've got somebody to take care of that. Don't worry about it.
Stephen Fry is more bothered about wanting to have a drink of scotch than actually trying to interview these people properly.
Yes, and he doesn't.
You can't touch that. We haven't dusted the prints.
But oh no, but yeah, so he doesn't seem to care. And so will they ever actually attempt to clear this up? So, but again, back to what we were saying earlier, that's really not the point of the film. Like the murder is like second nature, the second class almost storyline to everything else, which is interesting for something that was marketed as a whodunit.
Yeah,
but,
that's a really interesting point about the film, is the fact that the murder happens like about an hour in, in the first hour. Yeah.
It's over halfway.
It very much, like, the first hour very much focuses on the divide and the atmosphere between the upstairs aristocracy and the downstairs staff and maids, etc. And everyone's got their own little personal dramas that they're gossiping about, which brings out a lot of the humor, as I was saying, and some of kind of some dark humor too. And I like the fact that as well that Robert Altman lingers shots on like the poison bottles and the knives, with the fact that one has gone missing. It's quite subtly done, but you never really feel like you're waiting for the murder to happen, because there's so many different personal, character dramas going on, and yet it doesn't feel very plotty either. And when like the murder does happen, it's a big moment in the film, but it never feels like it ever overtakes everyone's personal dramas going on here. There's lots of like rumors and gossip about who and why Michael Gambon was killed, but like the slight comedy tone remains, and like the reasons don't feel like they're more important because everyone hates him anyway, and plus you have
nobody cares.
Plus you have like Stephen Fry's character as the inspector investigating people, and his scenes are focusing more on like the comedy and, as I said, like trying to drink the scotch than actually giving the audience vital clues about who killed him. Like the main focus from the downstairs staff as well, they're literally just trying to concentrate on running the house properly, and like Stephen Fry has to work around that, and also with Ryan Phillippe's character, he lets his accent slip to American, and he doesn't sound Scottish anymore.
He never did.
Yeah.
So
that's the point. And that becomes more of...
That is the point. Yeah, we'll get into that in acting. But that
becomes like more of a scandal than the murder itself. Certainly with the downstairs people.
He's just generally awful, that character. I'd say what I thought was also just what you were saying about discovering all the scandals is that, I mean, they managed to still do it without, yes, there's the exposition, of course, but it's realistic exposition, and we'll come to that in the second film we talk about as well. It's like, well, because they do literally have to, you've literally got Maggie Smith saying, oh, what's the gossip? So this automatically then almost gives Kelly MacDonald the chance to go and find out some gossip, and vice versa. So it's kind of like carte blanche to find out what's going on. And the fact that you then do have Kelly MacDonald, who is, established very quickly, she's really inexperienced. Maggie Smith has got it because she wants to kind of like, train her and form her and make her what she wants her to be. So that also then explains why so many things that are happening in this house to establish the class and who's where and why they're being given these weird names and all this kind of being given the names of their lords and ladies. It's explained to her because she is so new to this world. Yeah. So it's a way of, kind of like dumping what we need to know, but in a realistic form, because sometimes it can feel very heavy. You're like, why? This is just so much exposition. But they explain it first of all with her, but then also secondly with the American, who also doesn't know how upper British society in the 1930s worked. Like he's saying, are you okay? And you see Maggie Smith, am I what? Because never heard that word. So I think those two, Kelly MacDonald plus what's his name, the Weissman, the Balaban character, they are kind of like, they're devices put there to explain how this society works upstairs or downstairs, both. And I think it's done well. It's not there's some moments where I'm like, this is a bit much.
Yeah.
This is not a normal conversation. But generally it is done pretty well. But those they're quite obvious. And of course Kelly MacDonald has got the extra role of actually figuring the whole thing out.
Yeah,
or
the actual detective.
Getting them to admit
film.
it to her, look at it that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's the actual detective. Yeah, good for Kelly. Well done, Kelly.
Yeah. It's also really interesting with Bob Balaban's character, this film director, writer from Hollywood. The fact that the reason he's there is research for his next movie. The fact that he's setting his movie in an English country house and it's a whodunit and literally a murder is happening while he's there as well. So it's kind of got this weird like meta quality.
That was weird. I was like,
about the film as well.
Yeah, are we in Inception here or something? Yeah. That was very bizarre.
Again, I think for me that kind of just brings another level of comedy and sort of almost satire, and also maybe even just like
get hold of me if everybody's called. So I'm expecting a very important phone call. Like, you're so important, mate.
Were you not a fan of that character?
Oh no, I thought he was good. I was, as I say, I'm not a fan of the Ryan Phillippe character, but I thought the American was. Yeah, I think they didn't need both of them. Look at it that way.
Okay,
but also I don't understand why, if he's an imposter anyway, like why did he have to be Scottish with a Russian accent? Like what? I don't. No, but I don't. I was like, because I was a part of me was thinking, well, okay, no. Do you know at one point
I think
I thought he and Weissman were actually a couple. Is what I thought.
Yeah, I thought that as well. Yeah.
It was the bit where he's
where he like walks up to him and gets really close to him, and he's in his dressing gown.
Yeah, the bit at the end when he's supposed to, not in the end, sorry, in the first night where he's going to be getting him ready, like supposed to be getting him ready for bed, undressing him. And there is a gay, obviously gay character in it because that's the one who's very desperate to undress. But no, I actually thought that was where that storyline was going, that he was his partner. And but because back then it was maybe scandalous for two men to be seen to be traveling together in that situation, and because he says something like, you should probably go downstairs. I was like, there was something in that first evening where he goes up to check on him where I was like, is this the situation? Because it was obvious he was an imposter in some way because the accent was completely off, and even the fact that they acknowledged it by Kelly MacDonald, because she said, well, he's not from any part of Scotland I've heard. So, and I was like, okay,
must be from Russia.
The accent is so bad. Yes. Oh my goodness, that accent at the beginning. I was like, and then of course it all makes sense. It's supposed to be deliberately bad, but yeah, that was what I thought. There were maybe a storyline going off with those two, but then that didn't develop into anything. So I was like, oh, okay. But he was just randy with everybody. He didn't care. Yeah. So, yeah.
He just wanted to take his trousers off in any moment, to be honest.
Like, Lady Sylvia. Yes, here we go. Like, what? That was also random. Just going to go and get her some milk, and then clearly getting a glass of warm milk is the key to her heart. Or other parts of her, I don't know. Oh, yeah. That came out of nowhere. But
I feel like that kind of whole storyline was I don't know, it's difficult to kind of explain. I'm guessing it's for research purposes for Bob Balaban's film. The fact that he just pretended to be a servant to just become part of that world to feed back to Bob Balaban like what it's actually like. I'm guessing that's why he did it, But
then why did he attack Kelly MacDonald? That's what I don't get. There was just so many parts to that character. I think there's things missing here. I
think he's just a twat and just a bastard.
Probably right. Yeah, he's just because he did he starts sexually assaulting Kelly MacDonald. Has two trysts with Lady Sylvia, Kristen Scott Thomas. I think he also wanted to. Didn't he also want to get on with Elsie as well? With Emily Watson's character? Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, that's another great line.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because she slams the door in his face. That was great.
He says, I thought you British had a sense of humour or something. And she goes, yes, only if it's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. So, sort of the last half an hour of this, again, kind of keeps this light comedic tone, and it kind of carries on. Like, the focus isn't even on the investigation at all. Like, the focus is on everyone leaving the house. Then sort of this emotional bombshell hits you that like Clive Owen's character is the abandoned son of Michael Gambon, and he was the one who stabbed him, Clive Owen, but he didn't kill him. That obviously reveal comes later, like someone else did. And it seems to come out of the blue, but in a brilliant way. Then kind of the light humorous tone continues. But like the last reveal is that like Helen Mirren is Clive Owen's mother, and she poisoned Michael Gambon to prevent him from killing Michael Gambon. So he only stabbed the dead body. Then the film just becomes quite tragic from then on. All the sort of the humor, a lot of it anyway, like peters out for me. Then all the drama really comes through in those last moments without like a detective in sight in this point. So kind of overall with the screenplay, like I loved all the different tones of the film that kind of flow into each other. And it just kind of allows for this kind of these emotional sort of gut punches with the reveals at the end. Yeah, I really enjoyed those moments.
I can see why it won the Oscar.
Yeah.
It is very much in the kind of like wheelhouse as well, period drama anyway, but also that kind of quirkiness of an original screenplay. Yeah. So, and I think it's a deserved. I'd have to go and check what else was nominated, but yeah. So that was the one. It was nominated for like 7 or 8 Oscars, but this is the one it won.
Okay.
So yeah, like it was picture, director, Mirren, Maggie Smith. They were nominated in supporting.
Yeah,
which is interesting because with these ensembles, because you said earlier you think of Kelly Macdonald as being the lead.
I would say so.
Yeah, but she has 0 arc, but none of them do. Because none of them could develop anywhere. None of them. They start awful and they end awful or dead.
Yeah.
So it's but she's the structure to it. She's kind of like our eye. So I guess in that sense, but I don't know. I think if they were to, I think it's one of these classic examples that they kind of just put everybody forward for.
Difficult to kind of justify
for
like
supporting
a best supporting actress nomination when with such a huge cast. But yeah, it's difficult when you have to put actors up for awards when you have like a big cast like this. But
and I mean, and those two are the most well known.
Yeah. So funny lines, interesting lines. I got a bunch for this movie near the start. Tell me how much longer you're going to go on making films. I suppose that depends on how much longer the public want to see me. Yes, it must be hard to know when it's time to throw in the towel. I think that's Maggie Smith.
Yeah, probably.
Mr. Wiseman's servant comes down and says, "It's about Mr. Wiseman's diet." Yes. He's a vegetarian. Oh, what? It was great. How do you manage to put up with these people? Bob Balaban to the actor. Well, I forget I earn my living by impersonating them is good. There's so many.
I think I've said lots of them already, like the one about, I couldn't tell you who did it, that'll spoil it. Oh, but none of us will see it.
Yeah. I love the kind of the I don't know. I can't tell whether it's a gag from Michael Gambon's character or not, but if he was just confused where the conversation was going. But the British Empire comes up at dinner once, and one of the characters says, I think it's the blonde guy. Oh no, it's Tom Hollander. I think starts it off, and he says, "That's not true, is it? That you think the Empire's finished? Well, the Empire was finished after the war. Well, because of the war, it's changed everything." And then Gambon says, "Empire Leicester Square, is it?"
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was like, where did that come from?
Yeah. Which is funny.
Actually, that is one thing about that dinner scene. It's the one which is quite also kind of for the screenplay. I meant to say it was a little bit of kind of little, peeve that I have with it.
Yeah.
And it is very important to the whole, it has to happen, but it feels unrealistic in that moment. And it's when Elsie basically shouts at Lady Sylvia and says, that's not fair, where we realise, they were also had something going
Emily
on.
Watson.
Now, here we go. Although I kind of, there's earlier hints as well, because she is adamant that it couldn't have been Sir William, who Kelly Macdonald's character, Mary, had seen in the washing room with the other maid. So I was like, why is she so adamant about that? But yeah, I just felt that was out of character. I forgot to mention that earlier as being something I guess wasn't quite, didn't fit, had to happen, didn't feel that she would have done that. But there you go.
Maybe it was because she's like one of the longer serving maids in the house, and I don't know, she just let her guard down for one moment emotionally. I don't know. But yeah, I think it could have happened a bit more organically in a slightly different way, maybe, because she didn't feel like part of the scene at that point until she said something.
Until she said it.
Yeah.
Didn't notice she was there, like the best servants, as Mrs. Wilson says. I'm the perfect servant. I have no life.
Yeah. That's quite... Again, that's when sort of the comedy just like...
That's the end of it,
Yeah. Peters out, and you're very much focused on Helen Mirren's character. Yeah, it becomes very sad in that moment. I always like to point out good swearing when they're talking about William, a couple of them, and they're like, I knew William would try something like this. Well, of course he would. Fuck him, short ass, and fuck this room.
So I read specifically that Altman wanted to include numerous fucks and fuckings and all this kind of thing, even if it was maybe not quite period like realistic, or they might not have said it. I mean, I'm sure some of them would, but he made sure to include it either way, because he wanted to make sure that it got a higher rating. He didn't want anybody like under 15 to see this. He says not 14-year-old boys, and I'm wondering, choice, I don't know, would they? I'm not sure whether they were supposed to idolize what Ryan Phillippe was doing. I have no idea, but that's what I read. He just very specifically said wanted to make sure he got the higher rating, which is why he just had to throw in a certain number of F-bombs and to get that rating, because otherwise, there's nothing really to justify a higher rating. I mean, some sexual content, but nothing, bad.
Don't be such a snob on Constance. Me, I haven't a snobbish bone in my body.
She's so good. I do wonder that half the time it's the line delivery, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Not just, this one, You're providing a lot of entertainment for nothing, Weissman says to Ivan Novello, and he says, oh, Morris, I'm used to it.
If her own mother had a heart attack, she'd think she was less important than one of Lady Sylvia's farts. I thought was fantastic. How horrid, and who turns out to have done it? I can tell you that. It would spoil it for you. Oh, but none of us will see it. Yeah, you mentioned that one.
Do you think he's the murderer, Robert Parks? It's worse than that. He's an actor.
Yeah, that's my favourite. That's my favourite line. I mean, there's lots of lines. I mean, on a different day and different recording, I would have picked a different line. But yeah, I picked Clive Owen's one there. Yeah. Who is it then? Do you think he's the murderer? It's worse than that. He's an actor.
He's an actor. Did you spot Clive Owen's subtle Bond audition?
No.
Okay. So when Parks first arrives, he says, Parks, Robert Parks. I was like, there we go. That's Clive Owen subtly trying to audition for Bond. Yeah.
Yeah, he was up for Bond, I think. He did. I don't know whether he auditioned or not, but
that would have been the time.
He was rumoured.
Yeah. And he would have been, well, as they discuss how old they think he is, at one point as well. That's also really subtle. That you also don't think twice about why they're discussing his age. But of course, when you know what you know, Mrs. Croft trying to put it together, if it potentially could be Helen Mirren, Mrs. Wilson's, her sister's son. So that's why she asked, clearly. Yeah. But again, something you just... this is the clever thing about the screenplay. Is I don't think any of the lines are... I think I made that note. They seem so throwaway, but it all builds up. And then you go back to things that were so insignificant or just random chat, banter. And then you're like, well, yes, no, she's asking about his age because she's trying to figure out if that could be the son that Helen Mirren gave up and which was then put by Michael Gambon into an orphanage where he then grew up. Wasn't an orphan.
Yeah, so well done with that. And I feel like this film will have so much rewatch value to really understand how intricate this script is fully. And I feel like we are only just scratching the surface of how good this screenplay is, in my opinion. So, screenplay score for you, Heather? What are you going for?
I have a 9.
Straight 9? Yeah, I'm going to go in the 9s as well, just because of this kind of tonal achievement that this film has. The fact that it's so daring, the fact that you have so many different characters and all of them just kind of creates this great sort of dark humor about it that just exposes how sort of ridiculous this class system is. And yet when you look into it deeply, there's such great subtle moments that are so important to the plot of the film in terms of how all the reveals are revealed with Clive Owen's character and Helen Mirren. So yeah, it's really, really good. And it's hilarious at times. It really is. I could watch a whole film with just Maggie Smith's character for sure, or even Kirsten Scott Thomas' character. Then
Downton
just
Abbey,
being,
I think.
Yeah, just watch Downton Abbey, I suppose. Is what I'm trying to say.
Like this, watch this. Oh.
So yeah, I'm going to go like a 9.5.
We are so high.
Bloody good.
Yeah.
Right, acting then. One of my favourite performances here is from Kirsten Scott Thomas because she's just such a vile character. She's literally patronising and horrible to everyone she talks to. But I absolutely loved like the kind of flirting scene she has with Ryan Phillippe's character, who plays Henry Denton, where she's not hiding her intentions at all. Yep, I want to have sex with you at 1 a.m. with a glass of milk. Not being...
Oh, she's not used to people saying no to her, so...
Being blunt at all, obviously. So, yeah.
Good for her.
I just... And even just that kind of that scene when Stephen Fry turns up for the first time as the detective and she's immediately interrupting everything. She has complete control in the situation, not the actual detective. That was great, that scene as well.
Definitely not the grieving widow.
No. No, not at all.
She's great. Yeah. I wrote down that she's magnetic, which she always is.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I think
so watchable.
Anytime you see her, she is what you're looking at, just because, she's just, obviously very striking, but just her general presence. This is like so much charisma, her as a person. Your eyes are just automatically drawn to her and what she is doing. And yeah, this is generally true of any film that she's in. I mean, yeah, we could talk about the terrible decisions that Hugh Grant's character makes in One of Four Weddings and a Funeral when she's right there and she's in love with you. What are you doing? You could have Fiona. But no, go with the American. So she's just so, as I say, I've just written it down. KST magnetic is my notes because she's just wonderful. Yeah, she's perfect, and I think very much kind of very subtle as usual with her. I mean, it's all very subtle. I mean, you've got your obvious Maggie Smith, who's a bit of a stealer just because of her lines, but everything. If you just, I think you were saying earlier about like rewatching, and you could rewatch. Okay, that would be a lot of rewatches. I was about to say you could watch this film from literally and focus on a different character every time, and then you'd be watching it 30 times. But maybe just concentrate on a few. But
I'll be happy to do that. I really would.
I mean, I think you could though, because it's what you were also saying earlier. Like, there's so much going on, even if it seems to be a static scene. Everybody's doing something. And so, like I was saying earlier, there was one particular there's a scene, and I think they're kind of shot behind a fern or something. It's what's his face, Freddie, the one who's. I think it's Freddie. So the one we haven't talked about them. They're also like really random. With that woman who's the glove heiress, Mabel. Also, what are they there for? But anyway, there was something, and then they're the they suddenly become the focus. Yeah, and they start off behind a fern, and they become a focus. So, but why? Why does that change? So I think you could, as I say, watch it from just focus on one particular character and what they're doing in every scene. Every time, and I think you would get something new out of it. Absolutely, every time you watch it.
I really enjoyed Helen Mirren's character here. Like, she has this kind of cold quality about her, yet she's kind of one of the very few likable characters in this for me. Like, her performance is so brilliantly nuanced in that way. Like, if she goes up a notch even slightly, it feels like she can become one of the more unlikable characters easily. But there's not enough empathy that she shows her colleagues that she definitely feels like one of the characters to root for. Like, then right at the end, like, Helen Mirren is incredible when you find out that Clive Owen is her son. Like, she's trying to cry quietly to not disturb anyone. She fantastically judges that perfectly. Yeah, it's just so heartbreaking as well in that moment. She's so steely and so in control of her emotions throughout the whole film until that moment on the bed where she just can't hold it in anymore. So good.
I think also what's great is like she embodies what she says the perfect servant is like not really visible, not there, but still there. So that's the perfect servant. They should be permanently there without you necessarily realizing it. And I think that's very much true of Helen Mirren. I mean, she is ever present, omnipresent in this film, but you don't always realize it. So again, coming back to watching it and just focusing on one particular character, if you were to do that with Helen Mirren's character, you probably realize she's in a lot more scenes or a lot than we actually realize, because she's just permanently there. That is her job, to know what's going on. And as she says, to anticipate not just what, her lord and lady of the manor want or might need. Like, the perfect scene when Kristen Scott Thomas comes down and tells them, "Oh God, we've got a vegetarian." She goes, "All taken care of, don't worry. Chill, we're good." But also with regard to her son. Yeah. She knows she can anticipate, not, as I say, not just what the upper class want or might need, but also what her son is going to do, why he is there. She's the first one to figure that out, obviously, why he's there, what he's going to do, and then it gets ahead of him just very subtly as part of her job, which is just to serve her master, the tea that he then throws away and then makes him a whiskey. And
but then
that's where it's poisoning. Yeah.
But then she can't kind of anticipate her own emotions at the end.
No.
It all just kind of spills over. And yet she's still so aware. Obviously she gets reminded from her, I think it's her sister.
Her sister, Mrs. Croft.
That you have like cry quietly, basically is what she says. So just for like a few moments, she has to let go of where she is and who she is and what her job is. And she, she's reined in by her sister there, and it's just really heartbreaking. That fantastic performance from Helen Mirren,
as always.
Yeah, I know you kind of had a problem with this scene, and I totally get why, but I kind of did love the acting in this scene, where like from everyone when Emily Watson speaks out of turn at the dinner table trying to defend Bill, Michael Gambon's character. And the look on everyone's faces is amazing. Like, it's so varied. Like, Tom Hollander just laughs. Kirsten Scott Thomas looks shocked and definitely trying to hide it behind her eyes. Charles Dance has no real reaction. He just looks mildly interested, which is kind of funny in itself. Like, Michael Gambon looks genuinely shocked, then sort of pissed off later and storms off with his dog. I loved kind of the way in the background as well. Like, Richard E. Grant has the smallest of smirks on his face behind Emily Watson. So I loved how kind of varied everyone's reaction is in that scene in particular, even though it kind of starts off a little bit unrealistically. But just watching everyone's reaction was great.
Yeah. No, but that's what we're saying the whole way through, really. It's like because they didn't know when they were going to be necessarily seen, they just had to act and react to everything.
Any other performances you'd like to point out?
I think it's just all very strong. I mean, Maggie Smith, I think we've talked about her, but she's just always good in this kind of thing. This is her. I mean, she does tend to overdo it at times. I do. Okay. I think not necessarily in this, but just generally when she's, typecast into her, and I haven't seen Downton, so I don't know, but when she gets typecast into these kind of, prim and proper roles, she can sometimes overdo, but I don't think that's necessarily the case here, because I think that is how that character is. Like, literally, she is just this woman that just, she just doesn't know any better in a way. Not to excuse her. I mean, she is awful, but I don't think she realizes half the time what she's saying, or just says what she's thinking. So she's fabulous.
She certainly she
Side-eye.
is like really horrid to a lot of characters in this, which is obviously very entertaining, but there's definitely like an innocent sort of vulnerable quality that she brings as well, especially when she has her scenes alone with Kelly MacDonald, her servant, her valet, and she's always kind of asking her opinion sometimes on certain issues, and that's kind of where you see sort of the vulnerability from her character as well. And I think that's just like really perfectly judged as well from Maggie Smith as well. It's not overly done, and she still kind of has this sort of Maggie Smith steely exterior, not to the extent of Helen Mirren, but with that side of thing, with her acting. But yeah, you can definitely, the door is ajar a bit more in terms of what she's really feeling emotionally, especially with the scenes with Kelly MacDonald, I think.
Yeah. No, I think generally everybody is really strong, even if they've only got a tiny role. As I say, I mean, Tom Hollander, he's not got very much to do, but he's quite. I love the scene as well when he's like, eating his jam, and then the maid is then going off on one about love, and he's like,
Okay. I'll do anything for Mr. Jennings. Okay.
Yes, that was another like thing going on. You're like, where did this come from? And then Mr. Jennings, Alan Bates randomly being a drunk, but again on a rewatch, there's probably loads of signs that he's probably secretly like, lugging a bowl, the whole glass of vodka behind the scenes or something. Not vodka, but or the end. I didn't quite get that end bit with him as well. Like suddenly, because he didn't serve, right? That's the whole point, that he didn't go to war. Presumably that is a drunk. Then he was in prison, and I don't know if that was connected. That was all a bit random. So that was kind of one thing as well. When we went to say with the screenplay, the direction, there were these loose ends. That is one that I guess kind of like, well, what why? But yeah, like you were saying, you could have spin-offs on all these characters with all their backstories, or extra, what happened to them all afterwards. But that's the whole point of the ensemble. They bring them together to this enclosed space for, it takes over what is it, like 2 days, presumably. The whole film is just a 2-day period. And that's it. It's very enclosed, literally, but also, spatially, but also in time. And it doesn't matter what happened like afterwards. You can kind of guess, because that's just the way the classes work. I did read though that Altman was very, or was it Fellows, probably the writer, was very specific about when it had to take place, because he didn't want any 1932 in November, because they were very clear they wanted it to be kind of like cold and like rubbish British weather, but didn't want it to be Christmas. And then any later, you would have had to have brought some kind of conversation about Hitler and stuff like that coming in, because he gets into power in the January of 1933. So they'd had to have. They would have spoken about that, and I think he wanted. They specifically said he wanted to avoid anything like that. So also quite interesting. So that's why there was no real, apart from a few comments about the British Empire or whatever, there was no major comments about anything happening.
Yeah,
politically.
I think that's very wise, because I think then, because of how specific this tone is, like if you're talking about the rise of Nazi Germany the following year, it feel like you're in a dodgy territory of the fact that this tone ain't going to work at all if you're bringing that kind of politics in it at that time.
And I think at the time there was probably sympathy, certainly amongst that section of British class, for Hitler and what he was doing, and I guess they want to avoid that as well. Yeah,
because you might have had like characters supporting people like Oswald and stuff, so... I think, that's very interesting. Favorite performance for you, Heather?
I think I am going to go with the classic Helen Mirren. Yeah. It just feels right. I think we've been talking about Maggie Smith, but that's a more obvious performance. It's showier with the lines. But what you were saying about, Helen Mirren's stoicism through the whole film, and her having, of course, the big scene at the end. Yeah. And I just love Helen Mirren. But it's Helen Mirren, and I completely understand why she was the one that... I know Maggie Smith was also nominated, but Helen Mirren actually won a couple of awards that season, and I totally understand. Although I didn't at the beginning, because it's so subtle. but then it's the whole conglomerate of the whole performance and then the scene at the end and everything, and it just all makes sense. And I'm very pleased it was recognized by some bodies, because these are the kind of performances that often don't,
definitely
very subtle. But yes, it's Helen Mirren.
I'm going for Helen Mirren as well. I think I was finding it very difficult to choose when I was watching. I was like, I have no idea who I'm going to pick for my favorite performance, and then Helen Mirren's scene happens at the end on the bed, and I'm like, okay, it's Helen Mirren for sure.
Yeah.
Acting score for you, Heather? What are you going for?
If it wasn't for the unfortunate Ryan Phillippe, I am so sorry. It would be higher, but I have to
with his Russian accent,
and especially because he was a recast.
Oh, okay.
Do you know who it was going to be?
No.
And this person was actually cast officially. It wasn't just that he was the first choice. He was actually going to do it, and he pulled out last minute.
Ooh.
Jude Law.
Oh, really?
And just think of the film we could have got. Yeah, and he was going to play it as obviously he wasn't going to be American. He was going to be, was he going to be pretending to American, but was actually British or something like that. But yeah, it was going to be slightly different. But yeah, no, he was all set, and then suddenly scheduling problems. I was going to think, I don't know if it's Talented Mr. Ripley, because that was a couple of years earlier, so it probably wasn't that. But yeah, so we could have had that. And unfortunately, that then does bring me, I'm so sorry, because he really bothers me, Ryan Phillippe. Really, even, I know he's like, sticks out like a sore thumb. I'm sorry. Even when he goes back to being an American and he's actually playing himself, he's just, no, I'm sorry. So I'm afraid I've had to go down to an 8.8.
Okay.
Which feels really low because everybody else is so good, but he just stands out like a sore thumb, and it affects me too much. So yeah, if it had been Jude Law, we might have been looking at a 10, but we don't have Jude Law. Oh, and Kenneth Branagh was supposed to play the inspector, but that is a good choice. That was Stephen Fry. We're good. Yeah, but yes. Yeah. So sorry.
Yeah, he didn't bother me as much as it did you, but
really bothered me.
But yeah, like this, the acting across the board is quite extraordinary, and they're all kind of bringing their. Well, I would say most of them are really bringing their A game, and they're all like there's great subtlety here. There's great kind of out there performances that really go for it. Yeah, it's so well balanced. I think this cast, and as we said, like everyone is in it. That's ever acted before who's British, so I'm going to go with like a 9.2 for me.
Still, that's your lowest score.
Yeah.
It's Ryan.
This film really surprised me of how much I enjoyed this. Right, let's add up the scores then for Gosford Park. Gosford Park gets a whopping 55 points exactly.
Wow.
So that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Whoa.
That's it for part 1. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out part 2 to see who wins. But don't stop there. Get involved and tell me what your favourite films are relating to the episode. Send us a DM or comment on Instagram and TikTok at Film vs. Film Podcast, for X at FVF_podcast. Plus, we are now on YouTube, so hit that like button and comment there. If you do, I'll give you a shout out on the next episode. Remember, please leave us a 5-star review and subscribe. Pod signing off.